Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Rick and Morty, Morty's Mind Blowers, and I really enjoyed this episode. Now, on the surface, it looked like just like a clip show with how it was done, but I think it really did a great job of still fleshing out what we learned and what we have yet to learn about Rick and Morty's relationship. So, the episode starts out, and they're trying to run from this dude because they've got this truth turtle, and Rick is telling Morty, don't look into its eyes, Morty. And he's like, oh god, I did. Jeez, Rick, I did. What's gonna happen? Oh, now you're gonna know everything, Morty. Good luck with that. And they're still trying to escape, and Morty tosses the turtle away, and they get back home, and Morty is racked with knowing all the truth and everything, and he's like, I wish it would just go away, and Rick's like, alright, time to show it to you, and you go into this room of every experience that Morty has asked Rick to take out of his mind. And he's like, this is Morty's Mind Blowers! Yeah, and they're making references to all kind of clip show stuff like The Simpsons and all that, and it's like, okay, cool. So, we get off, and we get started on kind of a we get a couple long ones in the beginning, kind of fleshing it out and kind of saying, oh god, and then we get like a montage one at the end. So we start off with this like moon conspiracy one, and this whole one was Morty thought he saw a dude on the moon. And he's like, what the hell? And nobody believes him. He's like, it's probably a smudge and all that, is what everybody else is saying. He gets to school, and this guidance counselor dude is pretty much the spitting image of the dude he saw in the telescope looking at the moon. And he's trying to like figure it out. He sees him going around planting like American flags and stuff like that. And he's like, there's something with him. He goes to the principal, and the principal assumes he's a pedophile and goes out to confront him and punches him, and he dries off. He's like, oh, I thought on the moon or something was code for like something. And we're like, what the hell? And then we find out that he killed himself. And he's like looking in on the funeral, and like his Marine buddies are talking about how people would say he would look like a smudge. And he goes, he sees that it was a smudge on the telescope. It's like, holy shit. He's like, oh my god, I got someone to kill themselves. Holy shit. And he's like, oh, that's not the word. Let's keep going. And then we got into Morty's menagerie and stuff like that. And seeing how Rick, like, at first you didn't think there was a method to the madness, but then his ordering system, like, gets more chaotic. And we see that color coding starts to come into effect. It's like, he kind of knows what he's doing. So we get into the menagerie thing, and they've gotten captured by this dude. And seeing Rick's reaction, he's like, fuck you, man. And they sent out a beam thing, and they got people at NASA to build this interdimensional device, this spacecraft. And they gave them specific instructions to have people similar to Rick and Morty to replace them. And like, oh, yes, we have chosen to appear to you in this form, blah, 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 blah. Get into it, get out. It's like, holy shit. And then we go to the next one, and it's the whole enchilada, and we find that there's this alien race that knows for a fact that there's an afterlife, and to get into the good place, you gotta die in battle. So it comes up, asks Rick to pretty much kill him. And then Rick's like, oh yeah, I'll do it, but I'm kind of hungry. How about we go and get some food? Then we can do this afterward. First they go to a Mexican restaurant, and then Rick goes off to take a shit. And then Morty's like, oh, it's great that you have like proof and evidence about like the afterlife to the dude, and makes the dude doubt it. He's like, I don't want to die! So he runs away from Rick, and as he runs outside, he gets hit by a car, and we then see his spirit, his soul, starting to get dragged to hell. He's like, I shouldn't have doubted! Curse you! And Morty's like, holy shit! And Rick's like, yeah, at least we learned something from this. Their afterlife's real, and I do not want to go to that hell. And it's just like, holy shit. And then we get to one where we have Beth being held by this, like, alien dude, and he's like, alright, you have to choose between your kids, and she chooses Summer. And then, after that, there's, like, pretty much no deliberation time, or very short before she went to Summer. And then Rick pops in and kills the dude, and he's like, hey, what's, going on here? And then we start kind of, like, seeing kind of a pattern. We see one where Morty was possessed by a demonic worm thing that was giving him powers and everything, and they were like using love to get the worm to come out, but it was taking so long that they were just And like, geez, I've got to go somewhere at 6. And we're just like fucking with them at that point. And then the worm would come back in, go back out, and Morty's getting pissed off and everything. And it's like, shit, man. Whew. So, of course, we start getting more and more into like a faster kind of like pace, and Morty's getting more pissed off because we start kind of seeing a pattern here of what Rick is actually taking out of Morty's head. Things that would either adversely affect his opinion of Rick, or things that he could actually grow from. Because once you start seeing the pattern here, it's almost like Rick is trying to make sure that Morty stays the way he is and doesn't like grow or evolve either in a good way or a bad way. He wants him to stay the Morty that he wants, because if Morty had these experiences, yes, they're horrible, they're traumatic, they could help him grow as a person and understand his adventures and all that, and his relationship with Rick. And if he started keeping all of these shitty kind of memories, he would start realizing that Rick uses him most of the time, even though we have seen that the Rick that we've been following has evened it out and tried to help Morty in his own kind of messed up ways. So, of course, we see the one with what's like Vibo sacrifice, which is essentially a Tauntaun thing. He's like, oh god, it's going to get dark soon. The temperature's going to plunge to below, like negative 300. We got to kill him. He led us to water. And then like open it up. He's like, wait a minute. What planet is this? Is this 7 or 9? And it's like, shit. Then we get to one that really, it's not that long, but it really exemplifies what Rick kind of is as a person. They're like in this like Cylon kind of battle armor, kind of stormtrooper armor. They're like shooting out. They get out and it's like taken for granted, like the stone. And Morty starts making fun of him. Oh god, how long have you been saying that? And it's like everybody's kind of got that kind of thing that they've always misquoted, either because they've been told that their whole lives, or that's what they've thought. And of course, Morty's making fun of him, and then Rick just pulls out the gun and wipes his memory of it and pisses him off. We see Morty's interrogation, and at first, because there's this thing that could like destroy the Earth, and like the dude tried to harm Jessica, and Rick tells him to like pull on these things, and we find out that instead of interrogating the dude, he was pretty much jacking him off. And he's like, okay, you get the first codes before, then you get half the codes after you finish, and like Morty's like pissed off. And we start seeing like the true level part, because Morty was trying to make a shelf, and like, no, I'll show you true level. And then Rick does it, and Morty gets done, he's like, I am at peace! It is awesome! And then they take him out, he's fucking freaking out, he's like, nothing is right, everything is poison and crooked! And just seeing him freak out, he's like, nope, don't worry, Summer, here, I need him for a day. And it's crazy. We then see a light switch one, where they're doing an experiment, and Morty flips the wrong light switch. And he's like, oh, you flipped the wrong light switch, didn't you? And they go drive off. And we go and see that Morty killed people. And then he'd accidentally flipped another light switch. And they were going to like bury him. He's like, oh, we got to go do that too. It's like, holy shit. Holy shit. And then we also get to the anything magnet, because Rick made a magnet, typed in zip ties, needed zip ties, got him. He's like, oh, okay, Morty starts messing with it, and he sets it to redheads. And all these ladies start flying in. The last one that was kind of interesting, that was pretty in-depth, was the squirrels one, because he wanted to talk with animals, know what they were saying and everything. So he goes, sees a hummingbird. Okay, see, the squirrels were actively pretty much trying to destabilize all the governments and pretty much play with humans. And once they started catching on with Morty, he gets back into the garage, and they're like surrounded, and then Rick puts out this puzzle. We gotta go to another dimension, Morty, because damn it, you messed with the squirrels. We can only do this so many times. It's like, holy shit, they did another one like the Cronenberg monsters. Holy shit. And it starts throwing Morty off. He gets pissed off at Rick completely for doing all this and just fucking with him. And he starts trying to beat the crap out of Rick and all that. And Rick tries to wipe his memory again, but it like wipes them both. And then we start getting into a big montage as Morty's trying to figure out what's going on. since the only thing that Rick can remember is Men in Black 2, because that was with the like alien interrogation that like Morty was going on with, and he was like, I think we're Men in Black. And just like them talking about Men in Black 2 not being as good as the first one and all that, it was just kind of funny. So once he starts like getting into like in depth of like the memories and all that, he really starts not liking Rick and all that, but not to the like animosity that we'd gotten pre-Wipeout in this episode. So we start seeing all this kind of weird stuff. We see Mr. Poopy Butthole proposing to Morty, and Morty crying and everything. He's like, okay. We see him getting his hand chopped off, eaten and pooped out by a monster. Him winning at checkers against Rick. I'm like, damn, that's kind of cold that you're that petty enough that you were going to wipe your grandson's memory of him beating you at checkers. It's like, but that goes into Rick's control of Morty. He needs to be seen as the dominant one, as the one in control. Now, granted, I do believe that he has feelings for Morty. But it wars with his ambition and being the top dog, and even a little game of checkers fits into that wheelhouse. We see a birthday where, like, Rick kind of gets, like, the 13 candles thrown into his face, and I guess he's like, holy shit. We see Rick getting racked as they're skiing. It's like, shit. We see a dead Santa. It's like, holy crap. We see Morty Ghost being hunted by Rick, and we see a plastic Morty, and Morty with his head on a dog. It's like, holy crap. So this then gets into the effect where Morty wants to kill himself. And, of course, Rick doesn't have anything. He's like, okay, I'm with you with this suicide pact thing. Okay, it's like, holy shit. And then Summer comes in like, oh, did you have, like, your memories wiped? Is this a scenario 3? And Rick's like, what? I have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, oh, scenario 4. So Summer goes to the box, opens it up, gets out the instructions, and it's got the instructions. It's like, okay, trank us. Get the blue one when you see the 2 memory tubes. Put it in the helmet. Put it on my head. Leave it for 60 seconds. Do the same with the yellow one for Morty. Drag us to the couch, turn on interdimensional TV, because that's what they were watching in the beginning of the episode, and leave it there. So she takes the trank gun, does everything, pissed off that she's got to drag him up there, does it, and they're like, pissed off, they're like, Summer, why'd you let us fall asleep during interdimensional TV? God, you're such a bitch! And both of them, like, complaining to her, and she's like, this is why you two never get anything done. And, of course, that's making a dig at the creators of the show taking so long to make the episodes, but from what we've been getting, they've done a really great job of like subverting expectations and just really working on making just really good episodes that also pertain to like showing us more about the characters rather than just so episodes doing this thing or that thing. They even make reference to it with the clip shows, with the adventures, with how everything's structured, with the sleight of hands of what's going on. Like how we've learned throughout this episode that Rick, in an attempt to help Morty and how he views helping him, taking these memories and keeping their relationship, and he's in power and Morty stays himself. He probably wouldn't mind Morty growing, but he wants to keep that relationship. He needs it. It has become a part of him. And if any kind of memory could destroy that for him, he takes to that. And we could see that like these memories could like make Morty a better person if he chooses to learn from these mistakes, but he's not given those chances. Though we have seen that he has started to take those chances on his own throughout this season, taking out like the boyfriend that hurt Summer and everything, acting kind of more like Rick and kind of asserting himself. It's these kind of things that we're going to have to see how Rick's going to be dealing with, because he always can just fall back on wiping his memory on certain things. Unless, of course, Evil Morty has other designs and what's going to go on with that. So I really liked how this episode explored their relationship in the kind of clip show format and did it in a pretty cool, funny kind of way. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.